Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk, and thank you very much for joining me. And yes, a Christmas card. It'll be here before we know it, and if you make your own cards, if you hand make cards, then you know as well as I do that we have to start early, because everybody expects a handmade card when they know that that's what you do. And today this is a card that is a little bit special because I've made a braid. I've made it using the Kumihimo technique, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So this would be a card that I think that you probably wouldn't give to just anybody. This would be a card for somebody special, and if you stay with me, I will show you how I made it. I want to create a Kumihimo braid for my project. So I have my Kumihimo disc here. If you've never come across a Kumihimo disc before, it's made out of a thick, springy but firm foam. It's a bit like the texture of a stamping mat or a piercing mat. And this is a mini one. They come in different sizes, and it's got a number of slots cut around it that will hold my thread nice and firmly. I have cut 4 lengths of garden green twine and 4 lengths of gold baker's twine, and I've cut them to be twice the length of my finished cord plus about 6 inches. Okay, so, that would be 15 centimeters if you're working in metric. And I've arranged them so I have I've tied them in a knot at the bottom. That's how you start off. You tie the knot and you hold on to it. And I've arranged them so that my 2 green ones are going up and down, and my 4 green ones are going up and down, and my 4 gold ones are going side to side. All right. And I'm going to hold on to the tail that I've already made, and I'm going to start here with this cord, which is at the bottom left, and I'm going to move that up to the top left of the 2 that are already there. So now I've got 3 at this side, so I'm going to take the one on the right and I'm going to move it down to the right of the one that's on the bottom. And then with the ones at the sides, I'm going to take the one that is at the top and move that over so that it's above the 2 that were already there, and I'm going to move that one so that it's below the one that's already there. And that is one pass. So I'm just going to carry on and do that again and again and again. And this is something that you can do sitting in front of the TV, and it does actually grow quite quickly. So this is what I've made so far. So this is what this particular way of braiding looks like. Now there are lots and lots of different ways of patterning with Kumihimo, and there are different Kumihimo plates you can get. You can get square ones, rectangular ones, you can get larger round ones, and I recommend going in and having a look, and I will put a link to a source for the Kumihimo materials. Okay, now to make sure that I know where to start again when I pick this up, I'm going to move that one up to there. And the reason why I'm doing that is that I now know, because I've got 3 at this side, I know I need to take that one and move that one down to the bottom. Whereas if I left it looking all neat and tidy with, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, I might come back to it and wonder where I needed to start again. So I'm going to carry on making this braid, and when I've finished, I'm just going to tie all of the ends into a knot, and then it will be ready to use on my project. Rather than make a full card, I'm going to make a card front, and that way when I finished I can just store a pile of them in a drawer, and then I can just assemble them into cards when I'm ready to send my Christmas cards. So I have a piece of cherry cobbler, and it is 4 inches by 5 3/4 inch, and I've cut myself some of the This Christmas DSP, which is in the annual catalogue, and I've cut this to 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. So as you can see, it's a 1/4 inch shorter all around. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it to the front of the cherry cobbler with some snail. And I'm just going to go and change my snail, just bear with me, because that has run out on me. So Oh, has it? No, not quite. I thought it had gone. So, false snail alarm. Although looking at it, it won't be very long before it does give up the ghost. So let us continue. Okay. And I'm just putting dabs of snail rather than a line of it because it sticks just as well. But that way my snail will go twice as far. Alright, so that is a little top tip from me. I love this paper. It just reminds me of when I was a child. It's so nostalgic for me. It's really lovely. Okay, I've been doing some die cutting with the Pretty Pines set, which is in the autumn winter catalogue, and I've cut some pieces in Always Artichoke, and these are going to be my background pieces. And I've also cut some of the pine branches in Garden Green, and they're going to be more in the foreground, and I've cut some of the smaller bows in the Cherry Cobbler. So these I am going to put in place with my Tombow if it decides to play for me. So these pieces are going to be sort of like the darker pieces, the shadow pieces at the back of the card. And this piece, I did cut two of these, but one of them's gone AWOL. It'll probably turn up in a Halloween card or something now. I'm just going to put that one down there. I'm not really being too careful with any of this stuff because these are, as I said, these are my background pieces. They are the pieces that are going to be in shadow. Get my bone folder in, I think, just to stick them down, because at the moment they're sticking to my fingers, which is never good. Again, just going to dab them down. Alright, so those are my my background pieces. Put the top back on the glue just for a moment. Right, now here is my Kumihimo Braid. This is this is it after I'd finished it, and as you can see, it's come out quite well actually. I'm really pleased with that. But it is actually rather longer than I need it to be. So I'm not really going to worry too closely about that right now. I finished each end with a knot. I'm just going to snip the knot away, and I'm going to hold this in place with my stapler. And I'm going to loop this as I want it, and again I'm going to hold it in place with a staple. And one more time, take it off to the top of the card there, and hold it in place with a staple. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that end, and a bit of glue just around about there, and I'm going to wait for it to dry. And when it's dry, then I will come back and I will cut that bit away, and it will stop, that bit of glue will stop the ends from fraying and keep it all nice and neat and tidy. So while that's drying, let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment and get that ready to go onto the front of the card. So I'm using this stamp from Seasonal Bells, which is in the new Autumn Winter catalogue. I have a little scrap of Very Vanilla, and I have some Cherry Cobbler ink. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. Let me get a nice coat of Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to press that down and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that has stamped very nicely. So put that away, clean that later. And there is a companion die set that works with this particular banner. I don't have it, but it's not going to bother me because this is a nice simple shape and I can just fussy cut it out. Okay, my braid has had time to dry, and as you can see, it's finished up quite neatly, and I've got that little tail left, which I will probably use for something somewhere, so that'll go into my stash. Okay, so let me bring back the rest of the pine branches which I cut. Now these are in garden green, and I want to arrange these across the front of my card, but one thing I do want to do, I want to make sure that I cover that end, because otherwise it's just sitting there doing nothing very much. Alright, now the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put some adhesive on the end there and some at this end, and the middle is going to be pretty much freestanding. I want to make sure that that is covered. Goes along there. Okay, so there's my first branch, and I'm going to fill in with the others. And as you will see, the Kumihimo Braid is giving the pine branches, it's making them dimensional. So even without anything like Stampin' Dimensionals or anything of that nature, we're still getting a very 3D look, which is pretty cool, I think. Okay. Tombow glue is very sticky, and as usual I've managed to get it all over my fingers, so this is par for the course. Okay, so how do I want this one? And I did think about hanging some ornaments off my braid here, but in the end I decided not to. I decided enough was enough. And do I want one last pine branch, or is that enough? I think that's enough. So I'm not going to do any more to that, but I am going to put in some Cherry Cobbler bows. So they'll help to cover up the confusion here. And I'll have another one here. Oh dear me. You see, I've got Tombow on my fingers, and now everything is sticking to me. And one more. Let's going to go around about there for balance. Push it that way a little bit. Won't be completely over the top of the garland, but nobody's really going to notice. Okay, so how are we doing? Yeah, I am liking that. So I'm just going to bring back the sentiment, which I stamped and cut out, and I think definitely a couple of dimensionals are called for here. I'm going to bend that slightly so that it is actually, there's a little bit of a curve. Okay, so just to bling it up a little bit, I've got my gold Wink of Stella pen, and I'm just going to touch these cherry cobbler bows just with a little bit of the gold Wink of Stella, just to add that little finishing touch. And there it is, the finished card. And I do hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if so, I'd be absolutely thrilled if you would give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting more videos very, very soon. You can visit my blog, you can visit my Facebook page, you can visit my online shop. All the details are in the more information box below this video. But for now, thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.